On Reporter's Diary at 5, SoftBank Group's president and COO Nikesh Arora has stepped down today. Just last night, he received And speaking about his exit, Nikesh Arora took to Twitter saying, and I quote, "Masa will continue to be CEO for 5 to 10 years. Respect that. Learned a lot. Clean sheet from board after a thorough review. Time for me to move on." So in a sense, the reason why he has stepped down, interestingly timed, yes, but it could be the fact that he was waiting for some clarity from the board, some clarity from that committee, and now that he has gotten a clean sheet, he has decided to move on. The reason that he has quoted in the press release that has been submitted on the website as well as to investors is that there was a difference in the expectation between what Masayoshi Son, the chairman and CEO of SoftBank, had with respect to stepping down, and Arora. Arora wanted to take over as the CEO, whereas Masayoshi Son wanted to stick on for the next 5 to 10 years. So let's understand what this means for the company and portfolio firms. Vani Kola, managing director at Kalari Capital, is joining in. Vani, it's curious, yes, that yesterday Nikesh was given a clean sheet and now he has stepped down. But do you believe that he was perhaps just waiting for the final findings to come in and has thereby taken the plunge just now and not earlier, which could be slightly suspicious?
That would be conjecture, and I really have no idea on the timing. But I do think that Nikesh brought tremendous value in his role at SoftBank, and in particular for the Indian startup ecosystem. I think he brought his experience, his knowledge, and every CEO and board member who has worked with him would acknowledge that Nikesh was a great addition and a wonderful person to work with. And in that sense, it's somewhat of a loss of a friend for the Indian ecosystem. But the startup ecosystem is highly always resilient, and I'm sure that the companies will continue to avail the relationship they started with him as a mentor and, continue to build on their success. And SoftBank's engagement with India perhaps is not going to change significantly in the long run. I think that they will continue to be actively engaged in India macro story. It would be difficult to pull away from that. But we don't yet know who the replacement for Nikesh Arora would be in representing SoftBank to Indian companies. And, I think for now it's about taking a moment to focus on the things that Nikesh contributed to Indian companies.
Vani, what do you think would be the immediate challenges before SoftBank? Because, of course, portfolio companies, especially in India, have been working directly with Nikesh. What would be the immediate concerns that they will need to address?
Look, SoftBank is one of the most successful companies that has seen many ups and downs, obviously, leading their history. That's very obvious. I'm sure in terms of immediate focus on their global investments, India is only one small part of it, on their global investments. They have a group of people that are in the company, and they will continue to support all of SoftBank's activity. And I will be surprised if in a short time frame they don't clarify how they will support specifically the India companies. So I don't think there will be a big gap from how SoftBank will approach this for Indian companies, although I really don't know what that answers are. But they're an established, organized firm, and transitions happen in firms, and this is not the first time that SoftBank has had to work through transitions, right?
No, I agree with you. Just stay on, Vani. we have a comment or a quote from Kunal Behel, the co-founder and CEO of Snapdeal, which in fact Kalari Capital has also invested in along with SoftBank. He has said that Nikesh has been a great supporter and mentor to our business, and we look forward to the same continuing going forward as well. SoftBank will continue to provide financial and strategic support to our company, and the transition as SoftBank will have no impact on our business. So, this was the concern that perhaps portfolio companies may be wary of SoftBank or wary of the future going ahead. But do you expect, like Kunal has responded, do you expect all portfolio companies to be fairly, clean when it comes to the transition?
Look, SoftBank has invested significant capital in India, and SoftBank's success as an investor, is very well proven. Not long ago, they pulled out $10 billion return, right, from their prior investment in China. So SoftBank is a very seasoned, savvy, responsible investor. So I think that from ongoing decisions that they make about their portfolio companies in India, I would assume that they would, based on the merits of the company, continue to stay deeply engaged and continue to be an active investor and reassess their role from time to time. But I don't think that this materially, immediately changes for the portfolio companies any immediate outcome.
Vani, just hang in there. We also have Ravi Gururaj joining in. Ravi, you've been working with various investors, including Nikesh Arora, for the last several years. How significant would this be? Would this be a concern for portfolio companies? As Vani was pointing out, there would be some concerns that immediate concerns that portfolio companies will have. But what do you think SoftBank needs to address immediately?
I think, listen, things like this happen. The venture capital business is like any business. You have moves, you have things that happen, and, you have processes that you'll follow to restore normalcy, right? I think, the portfolio companies will be impacted, as Vani says, a little bit, but I hope it's minor, near-term, and can be resolved pretty quickly.
Okay, a question to Ravi as well as Vani. Vani was pointing out earlier that a lot will depend upon who exactly takes over and who the replacement will be for Nikesh. Do you believe that if SoftBank looks within the current team of SoftBank India, which is quite large, if I'm correct, that would ensure an easier transition for current portfolio companies? Ravi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I thought I was going to let Vani take a crack at that first. I think, Nikesh is obviously a larger-than-life figure, and I think that obviously amplifies everything that happens around him, right, in some sense. But I think, there could be, as I said earlier, near-term impact, but I'm sorry, I'm outside, and so I'm a little bit unclear the question. Vani, can you take over?
Okay, so Vani, 2 points. If there was a replacement from within the company, or if they were to look at a prospective contender from outside the company or from the entire venture capital ecosystem, what would be the better option?
I think there's a short term and there is a long term. I think short term, because you have to provide continuity, I'm sure the answer will be from within the firm. And like Ravi aptly put, Nikesh is a larger-than-life figure. He brings a deep operational experience. He brings a lot of respect that to the CEOs to the table. A lot of learnings that CEOs feel they can take away from him. He gives his time and his network to the companies. So I think given all of that, and given that that was something that SoftBank had wanted to provide its portfolio companies, in the long term, they probably will need to look outside to find that person who can fill those shoes and fill that purpose. But in the short term, I think it'll have to be somebody from within who can provide the continuity of support.
Okay, Vani, I'm not asking you to speculate, but I know you have worked with SoftBank very closely. So who would be the most appropriate contenders? Not asking you to speculate on who could be the next contender, but who would be the most appropriate contenders given the hierarchy of SoftBank India right now?
I would tell you that nobody knows that today. I think Masa-san is a man of his own mind, and he's himself another larger-than-life person. He's a maverick. He's so smart, and I doubt that there is anybody even internally within SoftBank, let alone someone like us, who are far removed and in the outside, would be able to give you an answer. So the honest answer is I really don't know.
Okay, Vani and Ravi, just hang in there on the line. We also have Kashyap Deora, who's a serial entrepreneur and the author of The Golden Tapper. Kashyap, you've addressed several issues that investors face and issues that portfolio companies face when there is a change at the helm, change in representatives of investors. How much of a concern should this be for portfolio companies who are working directly with Nikesh?
Sure. Thanks for having me on the show, first of all. I think there would be a change in how the companies, the expectations of SoftBank towards these companies, in my opinion. The time when Nikesh came in and made these investments, there was a certain thesis about India. There's a certain thesis about India being the next China, about the pace at which companies would get market penetration, the pace at which they would deploy these funds and scale. And I think those times have changed. And now with this change from SoftBank, I think the portfolio companies will probably find themselves asking slightly different questions. The mood might swing from market penetration and growth focus to more controls and unit economics and so on. And I think companies should be prepared for that.
So there would be immediate challenges that portfolio companies will face, say, in the next couple of months, as Vani was pointing out. In the short term will be the main challenge.
I believe so. If you look at Nikesh's career before being a professional investor, he was a charismatic sales guy. And often late-stage investors have, really savvy salespeople who know how to get into a deal which the entire market understands is a fantastic deal, and everybody wants a piece of that deal. And I believe, Nikesh came in as a charismatic sales guy and was still learning the ropes of investing. He was new as an investor. So his view of the world was fairly optimistic. His view was expansion-focused. His view was very entrepreneur-friendly, like a good salesperson should be. The entrepreneur was like his customer, so he was making sure he was, looking at the larger opportunity and being the cheerleader for them. I think times have changed now where, the investors are trying to protect their capital. There's a lot of money at stake. SoftBank has over $1 billion deployed. And I would say anyone who steps in right now will probably want to scrutinize the investments and look at them closely and, see if they're going to get their money back, right?
Okay, the question that we are asking you, Kashyap, Vani and Ravi, there are a lot of people on Twitter asking Nikesh exactly that, on if there is a difference of opinion, if portfolio companies will face an issue. And he has clarified interestingly to one of those questions that Masa and I are still in love with each other. I will support everyone I invested in, and they know that. So it's interesting that he is clarifying that he will continue to support portfolio companies. Remember, he will still be an advisor, so he will be available. But, Vani, the question I had earlier was that do you think that the entire investigation that has gone in over the last 6 to 7 months, even though he has been given a clean chit, do you believe that perhaps it just left a bitter taste in his mouth and he decided it was just time to move on?
That's possible. I think we are all human at one level, but Nikesh is a very, very mature person. With all due respect to Kashyap, I think he's more than a sales guy. His title was Chief Business Officer at Google. And I've seen him up close. I think he gets operations. And, every investor has to play a dual role, which is, of course, being a cheerleader. But I also think he was a hard taskmaster who asked the right questions and helped the companies to ask themselves the right questions. And most of the companies today are better run after SoftBank came in just because of the controls and, so on and so forth that they had to learn. So I do think that I don't think SoftBank's involvement with the companies will change dramatically just because of Nikesh leaving. In the kind of questions, Nikesh leaves a good legacy for whoever picks up with these companies. But look, we are all human. At some level, if somebody asks you questions about your integrity, and that's the hardest at your heart core question. And if you have not done anything wrong, of course, there's a system, and the system has to give you that clean chit. But I'm sure that's emotional for anyone, Nikesh, likewise, right?
Absolutely. Okay, we're completely out of time, so I'll give it one last closing comment in from Kashyap. Kashyap, does this represent a difference of opinion at the top tech? Is this a larger issue that not just SoftBank, even investors need to face?
Look, I think during 2014 and 2015, right after Alibaba became the largest IPO in the world, it was a $200 billion IPO on day one, day two. There was a lot of optimism about technology in the emerging world, and India, for a bunch of macro reasons, was very, very attractive. And I think nobody wanted to miss out on that trend, and that led to a certain irrational exuberance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And as things are playing out, technology is always speculative. We're all kind of trying to predict the future, which happens very, very fast. As some of those things have played out, I think there is a general change in tone, and a part of that is going to be, we'll experience the change in the investor's stance on the monies deployed. And the more there is to lose, I think there would be more hard questions coming in.
Okay, we'll have to leave it at that. Kashyap, Deora, Ravi Gururaj and Vani Kola, many thanks for joining in on that. We'll keep analyzing that story and get you more updates through the day.